Welcome to the Church Brand Guide podcast with Michael Prasad, helping you become a church marketing boss to build an attractive brand, create effective systems, and get tools that will help you cut through the noise and reach people where they are. Let's jump into the episode.
In this episode, we are talking about logo design trends. If you're looking to upgrade your brand, the brand of your ministry, your nonprofit, your church, this will help you understand the process and how to kind of figure out what works for today. Remember, it's relevancy that matters. You want to be relevant to your audience. It's not really about what you like, it's about what they like. Because brands, good brands, are brands that connect with the audience and reaches out to them first. Like, you should like it, but your audience, they should love it. So I have some trends I'm going to share with you, especially if you're a church leader, again, leader of a ministry or nonprofit. This is going to help you out quite a bit. So design trends that are happening right now, flat designs and bold fonts. Okay, so flat designs and bold font. If you think about the Nike logo, we use this as an example because everybody kind of knows it and can relate to it. Nike is a very bold font, the word Nike itself, and then the swoosh is this very flat shape that is just very recognizable. So we don't want gradients or maybe drop shadows, those type of things in a logo design. You want it to be flat, like a rubber stamp. You know those stamps that if you go through, I guess, security at the airport for a passport, they just take a rubber stamp and they stamp it. Like, it's very simple. It's just one color. There's not a lot of gradients to it. You want to go more in that direction. Now, you can have some more colors and everything, but bold fonts, make sure that there's at least a version of the logo that is without color, that's just very bold and punchy, and it just looks very appealing even without any embellishments to it. So again, flat designs. It's clean, it's bold, it stands out, it's recognizable from a distance. If somebody sees it on a t-shirt, on a bumper sticker, on the church signage on the building, then it just needs to be able to stand out in a very, very short amount of time. Abstract symbolism is another big one. We want to make sure that there's a good symbol. For most church brands, there needs to be some sort of recognizable, iconic symbol. And having some sort of an icon is a good step for churches, most churches. Some churches will have, like, maybe the font is the logo. Hillsong Church is a good example where the font is the logo. Or if you think about other brands like Google, the font is the logo. But for most churches, having that little icon that goes with the words is a good way to go, because it creates a lot of options for the church, especially if you're going to get into merchandise and have different types of media on multiple platforms, digital and in print. Then having that little symbol is going to be a nice thing to have. So instead of using like a literal cross, you might consider doing something that more represents a vision that is unique to the church. So of course the gospel is going to be like the main thing. But if every church in the community has a cross, then it really doesn't stand out. So the challenge is, as a ministry, like, how can you stand out? How can you have a symbol that represents your vision, your unique vision, in a more unique way that's fresh and grabs the attention of people? So think about some abstract concepts that maybe just represents the vision of your church and isn't necessarily a cross, a dove, a Bible, something along those lines that most churches from 20, 30, 40 years ago would do. Okay, think vibrant colors. Okay, so tip number 1 is flat, bold fonts, flat design and bold fonts. Tip number 2 is, I guess, trend number 1 is flat, bold designs. Trend number 2 is abstract symbols. And then number 3, vibrant colors and geometric shapes. So vibrant colors, brighter colors are very trendy right now. When we say trendy, yeah, it's kind of right now, but it's also going to be lasting. You need to think through that. Have your designer think through that. Like, we don't want to use a color that is in 3 years going to be outdated. We don't want to use a a design style that's going to be outdated in a very short amount of time. Logos should last for a good 7 to 10 years, maybe even longer. Okay, but right now, vibrant colors. So orange, a lot of orange is being used right now. Bright. It's a bright color that has a lot of energy to it. Yellow is a bright color that's being used. Like a brighter blue is also a color that we see being used quite a bit. So something that's bright. It used to be that there would be a lot of like maroons or forest green type colors or navy blues. Those aren't bad, but like back in the like the 90s, early 2000s, those were everywhere. And for the last at least decade or so, like usually brighter colors are going to be the way to go to, again, just grab attention and stick in the minds of people. That's kind of what we want. We want people to think that you are relevant for their life as a brand, so they come and they check you out. So that is trend number 3. Okay, and then trend number 4, this is kind of the final one that I have for you. Make sure your designs are mobile friendly. So this is a trend, but it's going to be a lasting trend because we're in the into the digital age. So needs to be able to look good. The logo needs to be able to look good on a mobile device and on an app, on a website, on anything you would think of, like YouTube, Instagram, all those digital platforms. We need to make sure that the logo is going to look really well on that. So you might need to have different versions or variations of the logo. So what we try to do is have variations of the logo that are approved variations. That means that there's probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 different versions of the logo. They're all approved. It's the same design. The essence of the design is the same, but there might be like the layout might be a little different based on the actual thing you're putting it onto. So we might have the symbol by itself, right? Or we might have the symbol with the words as another version. Or we might have a symbol and then the words kind of go around the outside, like a circle around the outside of the symbol. Okay, so those are all variations that we might approve. Like you can use all of those. What you don't want to do is have, somebody in the church just kind of making it up, like using parts of your logo and just moving stuff around or changing the colors and all that stuff. You want to make sure you have a brand guide that protects the logo. It says these are the approved ways that we're going to use our logo and only these ways. And again, there should be very limited amount of variations, but having some variations is going to be good just so you can be friendly across all different types of devices and different types of media. People are accessing, your brand from all different types of ways. So you want to have at least a decent amount of flexibility there. Okay, so those are the big design trends to be mindful of as you are thinking about your current logo. I want you to evaluate that. And as you think about maybe getting a new, fresh look, make sure you're keeping those things in mind. Reach out to a professional designer. If you have the ability to do this, if you can raise the funds or you have the funds somewhere to get a professional designer, a logo is going to be well worth it to get it professionally designed instead of trying to do it yourself and saving some money. There's basically some things that from a design perspective that makes a logo effective. And you just want to make sure you get that in place. Like one of the things we do before we design, we want to understand the brand. What is the vision? What are the values? What is the mission of the brand? We have a process that's called a digital marketing roadmap that we, if you don't already have one, you should have one. If you don't already have one, we put it together for you. And then from that, we create a brand, what we call a brand script that just kind of writes out, this is what the brand is. And then after that, we design. That way we are designing something that will work. It will move the needle. It's not a guess. It's not, hey, I think it's great, so I'm going to go with it. It's not the pastor thinks it's great, so we're going to go with it. It's no, what is the thing that is going to absolutely move the needle for the church? And we do that. And then that allows us to pick colors and fonts and then ultimately put together a brand book. So when you get a professional designer, you should first of all get this. It should be a 3-step process to this design. And again, you're going to pay for it. But it's basically the strategy. What is your strategy? Or learning the brand. You need to unpack the brand. And I'd say 99 times out of 100, that strategy piece is not only like we're learning the brand, but our client is actually learning their brand as well. So it's very, very helpful for the actual church or the ministry that we're working with. And then number 2 is the actual design. So strategy, design, and then number 3 is the brand book. Okay, the brand book should come with your logo. It should include some of the strategy, and it should include the visual elements of the brand, like different logo variations, the colors, and the colors should have like the RGB color values, the CMYK color values, the hex code for screen. If you're using like Canva or something like that, the hex code is going to be something that you're going to need. So all that should be in your brand book, so that you're able to use that logo consistently across all different types of media. And then you can even give that brand book out to different departments within the ministry. That way everybody's on the same page and it all looks good. Okay, the logo design should be based off of your core values, your vision, your mission, those type of things. Your leadership should be part of this process as well. So we recommend, like whenever we do it, we love to have the core church leaderships, 3-4 people that are just part of the core leadership of the church. That way we hear the voice, we hear the vision right from the people that are leading the organization. And then we're getting their buy-in in the process. So it's not like we're coming and it's like Christmas where we hope for the best. Here you go. It's more of like a process where we're working on this stuff together. Make sure the logo's going to appeal to people not only within the walls, but more so people outside the walls. Okay, design for them first. 60% should be like, hey, how can we reach new people? Great brands are really good at attracting new people. So make sure that your brand is leaning in that direction. How do we attract new people versus, I think a lot of churches make the mistake, a lot of ministries make the mistake of saying, hey, how can we appeal to the people that are already here? Again, that's a mistake because we want to make sure we appeal more to the people that are not part of our organization and invite them into being in the organization through the logo design and then even beyond that. Okay, hopefully this helps you out if you're thinking about a logo design for your ministry or your nonprofit. These are some trends as well as some helpful tips to help you do that. Thanks for listening. Check out the Church Brand Guide YouTube channel. Our website is churchbrandguide.com. We have a bunch of resources there to help you out and some examples as well. So would love to help you do this because we love to advance God's kingdom. We get to do that when we serve you and your ministry. My name is Michael. Thanks for joining us on the Church Brand Guide podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Church Brand Guide podcast. The video of this episode is available on our Church Brand Guide YouTube channel. Please subscribe to get notified when new episodes are released.